Welcome to the Franchising 360 Show, the only show that takes you inside the world of franchising, with hosts Tim Parmeter and Danielle Wright.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 Show. I'm Tim Parmeter, and with me, as always, is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
Here on the Franchising 360 Show, we take a 360-degree view of the franchise industry. All the things you need to think about if you are considering becoming a franchise owner, how to determine what's the best franchise to own, how to become a successful owner once you are an owner, how to possibly take your existing business and turn it into a franchise, and then a whole slew of little hidden things in the industry you don't even know exist. And that's another one of our guests tonight is going to join us on this. So and even for as long as I've been in the industry, I don't think I fully understood what this group did until really here in the last year or so.
I think for anybody that's watching, right, like data drives a lot of decisions. Like you can't measure what you don't, measure.
Right.
So this company has been around a lot longer than I had thought.
Right.
I've worked with them in the past with franchisors that have solicited that business. But I think there's an anthem that's kind of resonating through the last handful of episodes that we have done is supplier partners and how important they are to the ecosystem of franchising and how we don't leverage those relationships as much as we should. They're like the dirty business partner, like, God, I got to pay them something.
Right.
And then I think something else that's like been hitting for me on all of these episodes, and I think is going to hit tonight for this group is just really how important it is to find like the right fit with the right information, even if that takes you a little bit longer. So I think a lot of people are like, hey, do your due diligence, find the culture fit. I'm surprised the theme that has been rolling across.
It's a buzzword, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist or it's not important. And it's not a right or wrong, but it's back to the fit. It's what's the best fit for you of what you're doing, but also the people that you're around with it. And this group does a great job of really uncovering that and helping franchise owners.
Like we generally bat back and forth, you and I, and we know most everybody that's a guest from a personal and a professional place. But this one is a little bit more serious in my head space of the value that it brings and the absence of utilization of the services they provide. Either they don't do it or they pay for it or use it, but don't get anything out of it.
Yes. Before we get to them, we have to get to your
favorite segment.
Fun fact. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I don't know that it's a franchise fun fact. I've done really well about tying it to our guest. Okay. So this is going to tie to the franchise supplier guest. But here's the question. Ready? It's another percentage question. Okay. So we do well with these.
Yes.
Well, not percentage. Let's do this. How many franchisees, people that own the businesses, participate in the annual surveys?
30%.
No. I told you it was a number. I changed it from percentage. We weren't clear.
Okay.
The clear. Give me a number. How many franchisees participate in the surveys annually?
30.
30 owners?
Yes.
30.
30,000.
Like, I'm just going to stop for a second because you went 30. 30 owners? Okay. No. 35,000 franchisees participate in surveys every year, making it the largest data set on franchise satisfaction.
Okay. And those numbers are all telling a story, and our guest is going to explain how that works and how that can benefit you as a potential franchise owner when we come back on the Franchising 360 Show right after this. All right, folks, we are back on the Franchising 360 show. Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright, and joining us from way far away in that little northeast corner of the US of A, we've got our dear friend, Michelle Rowan, and Michelle is the president of Franchise Business Review. Michelle, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Nice to see you both.
We are, thank you for joining us, and we've got a bunch of questions. We've got such a cool and unique business that most people, sometimes probably in franchising, don't even know exists. Certainly people outside of it. First, give us a little scoop on Michelle.
Well, I'm president of Franchise Business Review. I was employee number one. So I started here 21 years ago as their salesperson, and just really love what we do and have not wanted to be a part of anything else in franchising. This is really where my passion is, as far as helping franchisors in their business, and also helping candidates find information they need to understand what systems they should be part of, or what might be a better fit over something else.
And I love the longevity, and I think certain whether it's franchise or whatever, when there's constant turnover, there's probably that whole buzzword culture, a little bit toxic. We got employee number one that's been there the whole time and loves every minute of it. What does Franchise Business Review do?
It's a great question. So we get feedback from franchise owners that are open and operating in the brand for the corporate team to understand their experience. What are they doing well? What do they need more help with as far as challenges in their business or opportunities to continue growing? And we also get feedback from employees. We're all about culture within the brand, and just really try and reinforce that good franchising is where franchisees and franchisors are both making great money, and there's positive relationships between the corporate team and franchisees. So that's what we're here to just try and help everyone kind of level up in franchising and make it a really great business opportunity for people to consider.
So you're employee one, and the business has been around a long period of time. I love the idea of tell me the story of why was this a need? Why did someone say, hey, I need to start this type of business today and focus in on this? Was there this aha epiphany, or just said, hey, there was a hole, let me do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our founder, Eric Stites, was with a company in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where he's located, that did lead generation for brands. And so he was on the marketing side, and he would talk to candidates that would say, what's the best franchise opportunity out there? Oh,
God, that question.
And he was like, I can tell you who pays a lot to advertise. And that was really it. So he said, you know what? I think a lot of people want to have the same questions answered before they buy into a brand. Why don't we gather a lot of that information and make it easier for franchisors to share that information with candidates, so that there's more transparency in why would I want to join this brand? What are the franchisees? And again, if you're looking at the right brand, they're not trying to sell you a shiny dream. They're going to sell you what's working really well and where their challenges are, where they're focused on, because that's real business.
So you can ask the next question, but I'm going to so 21 years, I've been in franchising, only 15. You don't want to know how many brands I have represented. That is a chart for another day. Why stay as long as you have where you are? What kind of inspires you to say, I don't want to touch any other part of franchising. I want to be right where I am?
Yeah, I think what I love is that the franchisors we work with are committed to the feedback from their franchise owners. So even if it's not a good story, we don't disclose. So I know some people will be like, well, what are the worst franchises that you work with? We don't share those. We're not here to throw out public opinion and have everybody kind of do their reviews online anonymously. We want the franchisor to use the information internally to get better, and then come back to us if they feel like they could win an award or use that data publicly. So I think that's important to say, is that we don't want to mislead anybody, but we also don't want to force anyone to share data until they're ready to share it. That's always up to the franchisor how and who they share it with. What I really enjoy is, I came from business. I really love working with business. And I really love small business. And a lot of franchisees are small business owners. And I think they buy into a franchise system because they want that level of support, those tools that help them run their business easier. And what I think is fantastic about franchising is you have access to other franchisees in your network that are running the same business as you. And there's so much power in that to share best practices, to learn from each other. And I think that's what I enjoy doing on the franchisor level is working with brands that are committed to using feedback and not making these decisions in a silo or a tower where they think they know best. They're going straight to the business owner to ask what's working in your market, what's not, what do we need to do to be better? And I love trying to help aggregate those best practices, those challenges to help other franchisors have a cheat sheet on what they need to do to be the best type of franchisor that they can be.
And I love that nobody knows better than the franchise owners, right? Of what's going on, good and bad. And you mentioned, when you're doing the review, sometimes there are going to be brands that probably came to you because they know they've got some issues and how do they fix that? And there's I always think, does it just because they're, not scoring all that well, doesn't mean it's a bad franchise or you shouldn't go into it. But it's certainly some things to take into consideration. Maybe you can share a story of, hey, a brand came in and they were really struggling with some of their reviews and everything internally that we're able to kind of take that and turn that around a little bit.
Yeah, well, I have lots of those stories. So I think it's really common for franchisors, and we see it happening a lot now when there's a change in leadership, when there's a change in ownership. Change is very hard for humans in general. And so how they handle that with their franchisees can be very, very hard. So I've seen that happen, and I've seen it be a great team that comes in after maybe the franchisees haven't received as much attention or commitment from the team. And I've also seen it where they come in and maybe it's like turnover after turnover of that executive team. So there's reasons for the franchisees to be frustrated. And what I always say is a lot of this idea of getting feedback from your franchisees is about the relationship. It's about franchisees feeling heard and being part of how you move the brand forward, because franchising is not like corporate stores where you roll out this change, this special, this you need to upgrade your building and the franchisees jump to do it. It's more of you need to convince them why this matters, why this will, or how this will impact their business. And it's more of that relationship. So what I've seen is them come in and use this feedback as a way to build that relationship or to build that trust that we do have your best interest. We are going to prioritize what we need to work on based on what impacts the most. So I've seen lots of those stories turn around where they just use the feedback. They're not perfect, but it's about how you use the feedback and how you share it back to the network. Not just checking off the box that you did a survey, sticking the data in a drawer, and then coming back in a year. Really using it to hold your people accountable, making it part of your bonus structure or your review process at the corporate team, and using it to align your entire corporate team that you are there to serve the franchisee, that they are your customer. So I think that's how they use the data the most to just really build those relationships and move through the issues. They're not always going to be aligned with what the franchisor and franchisee want, but it's how you kind of respect each other, explain your decisions, how you tested it. That's what can really move everybody forward.
So it's a little bit more than just, hey, we did this and we got the results and yeah, they're not happy. Okay, well, good. Tough, do better. That should be part of that process. Next year. Right. Maybe we'll get better. We want to come back to a few more things with this, Michelle, but we're going to take a quick break right here. And then we will be back with Michelle Rowan from Franchise Business Review on the Franchising 360 show right after this. All right, we are back on the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright, and joining us from Franchise Business Review is Michelle Rowan. Michelle, if anybody ever really caught the in-between segments thing, it would be hilarious. So Danielle has some questions that we are clearly
what a way to segue into this. Here we go. So I work with a lot of emerging and micro-emerging brands, right? They have 1 or 2 owners, maybe they have 5 or 10. My question is, at what point should they consider engaging in your services? And I'm going to back up and give you a little overview. We've had quite a few people here lately on some of the episodes that have talked about the supplier partners and how important those relationships are. And one specifically said that they don't work with any brand at that level because it doesn't make sense on a lot of different areas of financial time. Like it just doesn't, they need to have more, they need to be bigger or this, that, and the other. And I feel like if you start this sooner, you're staying ahead of the heartbeat of the owner, but you may tell us otherwise that it's not smart to do these things too early, but when might be too late to consider that partnership.
Yeah. I think, we recommend 10 franchisees or more because usually your first 10 are people you know, or you're in constant contact with them. And so when it gets past 10, you start getting into more of your process and maybe the founder or the CEO isn't as involved in that relationship. So that's kind of our marker. But I love that you asked this question because we realize that there's so much information that younger brands could get. So we actually have a new product coming out that is to capture a new franchisee's experience. What was that development process like? How was that training that got them opening? How was the onboarding? And what's it like to be open that first 30, 60 days? Because I think there's no wrong time to get feedback, and it can be anecdotal until you have maybe 5. You can just make sure you're asking those questions because it gives you the opportunity to adjust your process or to level up for that next person. So always asking for feedback is a good thing. Formalizing it, I think you can do it at 10. And I think people will wait till they're larger and say, oh, we know what's going on. But sometimes you just get a different response when someone outside of your organization is asking the questions. They feel like they can be more honest or constructive in that feedback. But also, too, you're collecting data that you can share with a candidate and give them a real picture of what it's like to be in this business and run this business and that onboarding experience. So it can be really helpful for people that you're trying to bring in a very transparent way.
I want the tea, as the cool kids would say. What are some horror stories of those that maybe did the survey, like you said, took the results, threw it in a drawer and didn't do anything with it? And maybe a horror story of like a franchisee giving feedback in the survey. Cause I want
that's a good one too. Yeah.
the weird ones. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some franchisees like physically threaten people on the corporate team. I've had a CEO have to actually change their phone number. So that was a horrible situation. Not one that she created, but like that's bad. You don't like to see that happen. I think so. Franchising is a small community. I'm sure you guys hear the stories about bad brands just as much as we hear about them. So I think the worst stories I hear is or see is that when the data is not used, when the data is not good, and they're still at franchise shows with their booths and they're selling, it like breaks my heart that their house is not in order and they're still trying to bring people in. So my only hope is that they do not make it through validation calls. But why are they spending all this money on new franchisees instead of focused on their existing franchise owners and making things better? So that I think is worse. I think that what I've seen go horribly wrong is when a brand has worked with us for a long time and they're bought by someone else. So these franchisees have had 10 years of experience of giving their franchisor feedback, and it's cut. The budget cuts them getting this feedback, doing the survey. We don't need it, whatever the reason. That also just hurts because I know these franchisees are in a great brand. They've been really front and center of the executive team's mind. And I don't know what happens after they start working with us. So that's kind of like one of those, I just hate when there's that kind of institutional process that at least annually they're doing this as one of their KPIs. So I think that's hard to see. But I have another brand that I can tell you worked with us for 10 years. And we actually allow franchisors to participate in our survey at no cost. And we do that because it makes the awards that we give out truly about franchisee feedback. And so a franchisor could work with us for 10 years, 20 years, and never pay us a penny. They don't get the feedback, they get their overall score, and they're in the research for the awards. This brand, for 10 years straight, the results went down every single year. And it would be like, you guys need this data. Nope, we know what's going on. Well, if you know what's going on, the scores are going down every single year. So either you don't know what's going on or you're not focused on the right things. We don't need it. Then they sold to a platform brand and someone inherited this brand and was basically sold a bill of goods. They no longer franchise this brand. And it's like, had the franchisor, had the corporate team just tuned in, there was an opportunity to save all these investments of these people that had come into this brand. And they just either thought they knew better, thought they didn't need it, or had their head in the sand. But we just watched those scores drop every year. It's heartbreaking.
So sorry, this is like my last one, and then you can do whatever you want, even though I've probably got way more. So how do we, as a collective franchise unit, and you said this and it was key for me and it's something I've always believed in, is the franchisee is the franchisor's customer. How can we all help better to educate franchisors, franchisees, everyone to kind of know that's the base of everything that we do, right? Is education, education, education. Like, how can we teach you those things? What is it that we can say or participate in conversations that help not just you and FBR, but this industry that we all love, to remind ourselves that franchisees are your first customer before the actual customer?
Yeah. Well, and if your current customer isn't making money, don't look for new customers. That's good advice. So I think what you're getting at is kind of what I always struggle with, is how do we shine a light on the bad actors? Because that is where we need to stop the behavior. And so I think that does come from education. I think the IFA does a great job of putting together events. I will say you tend to see the same people speaking. And so I think it is a diversity of voice is really, really important to have franchisors telling these stories, little franchisors, big franchisors, people that have been at multiple brands. I don't think there's enough credit or thought leadership given to suppliers in franchising. I think franchisors know their brand and they know it very well, but supplier partners have the opportunity to work with several brands and get this macro view of what's happening in franchise. And that's where the education needs to come from. And so you see smaller events popping up. You see regional things. We have the women's franchise. They do regional events, the FBNs that are put on. That, I think, is where a lot of the education can happen, and also getting these people connected to other franchisors so they have a sounding board to learn from.
Michelle, I love it. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. Franchise Business Review. Check it out online. Michelle was also kind enough to be a guest with a much longer conversation on our Franchising 101 podcast, so you can see that as well. But that is the Franchising 360 show. I'm Danielle. That's Danielle Wright.
You're Danielle.
I'm Tim Parmeter. Thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show.
Thanks again for watching the Franchising 360 show, brought to you by Fran Coach. Danielle and I hope these episodes continue to educate you on the franchise industry. In between our episodes, if you would like to learn more about franchising and the ways in which Fran Coach can help, there are a few places you should check out. First, be sure to listen to the award-winning Franchising 101 podcast. You can find this on Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Next, check out the Fran Coach YouTube channel, Fran Coach for You. You can catch past episodes of the Franchising 360 show, plus tons of other content. If you like to read, we encourage you to check out the book, Becoming a Franchise Owner. And finally, when you are ready to take that first personalized step and explore franchise industry further, please reach out to our amazing team at Fran Coach. There is never any fee for our service, so let us help you create your better tomorrow. Until next week, for Danielle Wright, I'm Tim Parmeter. Thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show.